B. There are 2.3 million millionaires in Canada, and that number is almost entirely fiction. Not because the math is wrong, the math is perfectly correct. It is fiction because of what it counts. A house you sleep in, raise your kids in, and almost certainly will never sell. Strip that out, and the number of Canadians with $1 million they can actually touch collapses by nearly 80%. That should stop you cold. Here is why this matters right now. Canadian household wealth just crossed $18.6 trillion. Headlines are celebrating. The average household net worth has crossed $1 million. Politicians are quietly pleased, and yet consumer insolvency filings are climbing. Credit card balances are at record levels, and the household debt-to-income ratio hit 177% by the end of 2025. Both things are true at the same time. Canada looks wealthy on a spreadsheet. Canada feels broke at the kitchen table. The gap between those two realities is exactly what we are going to close today. The Capgemini World Wealth Report does something most headlines refuse to do. It strips out the primary residence entirely and counts only investable assets, stocks, bonds, cash, RRSPs, TFSAs, business equity, the things you could actually deploy if your life required it. By that definition, the number of Canadian millionaires does not sit at 2.3 million. It sits at roughly 475,000. Think about what that means. Nearly 1.8 million Canadians walking around being counted as millionaires have their entire net worth sealed inside four walls they live in. They cannot spend it. They cannot invest it. They cannot use it to weather a job loss or a health crisis. They own a very expensive address and not much else. And the average Canadian is not quietly fixing this either. The average TFSA balance sits at $45,000. The average RRSP holds around $113,000. Combined, that is $155,000 in accessible retirement savings. Meanwhile, the average boomer household sits on $551,000 in home equity. The house is not the supplement. For most Canadians, the house is the entire plan. Now compare Canada to Singapore for a moment. Singapore has roughly 41% of household wealth tied up in residential property, nearly identical to Canada. But 38% of Singaporean household wealth is held in cash, deposits, and liquid balances. Accessible, deployable. Canada has the concentration with B, out the cushion. We have the roof without the runway beneath it. The truly wealthy Canadians, the 475,000 who actually have $1 million in liquid assets, are not unicorns. They did not find a secret loophole, but they share habits that are almost boring in how consistent they are. They budget obsessively, not to restrict themselves but to see. They know exactly how much surplus lands in their account after every paycheck, and they direct it somewhere intentional. The house-rich Canadian has no budget. Money comes in, the mortgage goes out, life fills the gap. There is no system, there is no surplus, just a very expensive roof. They also automate their investing. Every single month, without debate, money moves into their TFSA or RRSP and gets put to work. They treat it like a utility bill, non-negotiable. In 2023, only 6.3 million Canadians contributed to an RRSP. In a country of 30 million adults, the overwhelming majority skipped it entirely. And they attack debt aggressively. They clear high-interest consumer debt first. They accelerate mortgage payments when the math allows. They never borrow against home equity for lifestyle spending, because every dollar paying interest is a aller that will never compound in their favor. There is one question that separates real wealth from paper wealth. If you needed $100,000 in the next 30 days, no house sale, no borrowing against equity, could you get it? For 2.3 million Canadians, the answer should be yes. For nearly 1.8 million of them, the honest answer is no. Their $1 million is a number on a property assessment, not a number in a brokerage account. Picture a woman, 58 years old, Mississauga, bought her home in 2003 for $310,000. It is worth $1.1 million today. On paper, she is a millionaire. In reality, she is sitting at her kitchen table on a Tuesday night with a calculator. Property taxes just landed $9,200. The furnace needs replacing $6,000. Her husband's car needs brakes. Her TFSA has $11,000 in it. Her RRSP, untouched for 3 years, holds $62,000. She cannot sell the house. Where would she go? She cannot easily borrow against it without deepening a mortgage that already carries $183,000. Her wealth is visible but completely inaccessible. She can see the number. She just cannot live off it. That is not a retirement plan. That is a very beautiful trap. Real wealth is not what you own. It is what maybe your money can do tomorrow, next month, in a crisis at 2 a.m. when the world stops cooperating. Can it cover an emergency? Can it generate income while you sleep? Can it survive a housing correction without your entire financial life unraveling? That is the standard. And in a country where the average home costs more than most people will earn in a decade, the distance between the millionaire you appear to be and the one you actually are might be the most consequential number in your financial life. If this reframed how you think about your own balance sheet, you belong here. Subscribe and drop in the comments. Does your net worth include your home, or have you already done the math without it?